face it, whenever an aviation accident occurs, we expect that expert will piece together what happened as thoroughly and objectively as possible so that we can learn from it and make sure that a similar accident can never happen again. But what if those experts fundamentally disagree about what actually happened? Stay tuned. In the early morning hours of the May 19, 2016, air traffic controllers in Athens, Greece lost contact with an Egyptair Airbus A320 that was cruising at 37,000 foot over the Mediterranean Sea. The 48 seconds aircraft with 56 passengers and 10 crew members on board failed to acknowledge a radio handover to CAO, and only minutes later its transponder signal disappeared from Greek radar screens, unknown to the controllers, though the plane was still flying at that point, descending towards the sea in a long downward spiral. And it continued to do so for 9 excruciating minutes until it finally crashed into the sea, killing all 66 souls on board. The wreckage then sank to the ocean floor 3,000 m below, where most of it still remains to this 1 minute and 24 seconds day. Then for more than 8 years no final report on the crash was published, and the causes therefore remained a mystery until now. And before I can tell you the supposed real story of what took place on board Egyptair Flight 804, we need to understand why there were 2 versions, and for that I need to do something a little bit different this time, because to explain this, we actually have to start this story on the morning after the disaster under Annex 13 of the Chicago Convention on Civil Aviation. The sole 1 minute and 59 seconds right to investigate an aircraft accident lies with the country on whose territory the accident occurred, but when an accident happens far out at sea in international waters, that responsibility instead lies with the aircraft's country of registration. That's why when Egyptair Flight 804 crashed into the Mediterranean on its way from Paris to Cairo, Egypt was automatically made responsible for the investigation, but Annex 13 also obligates the investigation country to invite representatives from the country where 2 minutes and 31 seconds the aircraft was manufactured, which in the case of Airbus is France. So as a result of this, on the day of the accident, the French Bureau of Inquiry and Analysis assembled an investigation team consisting of its own experts and engineers from Airbus to go over to Egypt and advise the Egyptian Aircraft Accident Investigation Directorate, or EAD. For the first month after the crash, the BA and the Egyptian investigators worked closely together to recover the debris, identify the victims and extract 3 minutes and 5 seconds the contents of the black boxes. But that partnership was then abruptly interrupted when Egyptian experts announced a shocking discovery, one that in their view ought to change the course of the entire investigation. You see, they had found traces of highly explosive TNT on several of the victims, and because of this they claimed that the crash of Egyptair 804